Welcome to The Man in the Middle. I am your host, Bill West. Well, folks, it looks like it's finally happened. We've been talking about this for 5 years, 6 years maybe. Everybody uh, at least seems like every 6 months saying that Kathleen Kennedy is leaving Lucasfilm. Well, I guess this week it actually happened. This is by Aaron Couch and Boris Kitt, as reported by The Hollywood Reporter on January 15th. Last update was 19 hours ago. Key takeaways are new leadership. Dave Filoni takes over creative direction as president and chief creative officer, while Lin Brennan manages business operations as co-president, marking a split in duties similar to other Disney studios. Kennedy's legacy. Kathleen Kennedy has led Lucasfilm for 14 years, producing hits like The Force Awakens, Rogue One, and launching The Mandalorian, earning 85 Emmy nominations for the series. Future projects include The Mandalorian and Grogu, May 22nd, Star Wars Starfighter, 2027, signaling a whole new era under Filoni and Brennan with potential creative expansion. Okay. After 14 years guiding Star Wars into the modern era through its ups and downs, Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down as the president of Lucasfilm. Her retirement, which is effective this week, has long been expected, but still marks a seismic shift for one of the biggest brands in Hollywood. Kennedy had already spent decades producing such movies as Indiana Jones and E.T. when she joined Lucasfilm in 2012, taking on the role of co-chair alongside Star Wars creator George Lucas. She was elevated to the sole head of company just a few months later after Disney paid $4 billion for the brand and Lucas exited. Kennedy has not totally departed in the galaxy far, far away immediately. As part of her exit, she will continue on as a producer for the next two Lucasfilm movies, The Mandalorian and Grogu, coming May 22nd, and 2027 Star Wars Starfighter. She will pursue other products outside Lucasfilm as an independent producer. In her wake, EVP and Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni has been promoted to oversee the creative direction of the company as President and Chief Creative Officer, Lucasfilm. President and GM of Lucasfilm Business, Lin Brennan, will handle the business side of things as co-president Lucasfilm. Splitting creative and business duties is a common Disney strategy at Marvel Studios. Kevin Feige and Louis D'Esposito are on the respective sides of the head office, while Pixar is run by Pete Docter and Jim Morris, and Walt Disney Animation is overseen by Jared Bush and Clark Spencer. Filoni and Brennan will report to Alan Bergman, co-chairman Disney Entertainment. Kennedy's exit closes out one Star Wars era and launches a new one, with the elevation of Filoni and Brennan posing many questions, with few answers yet revealed. One thing is certain, after a period of relative inactivity as the Kennedy succession was settled, Lucasfilm could see development go into hyperdrive under the new leadership. Filoni was mentored by Lucas and came up through the world of animation, overseeing beloved series such as Clone Wars before teaming up with Jon Favreau on live-action shows as The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. Brennan joined Lucasfilm in 1999 and rose to president of Industrial Light and Magic before assuming her current role in 2015, overseeing all the business for the company. Kennedy was a veteran producer, boasting 8 Best Picture Oscar nominations, such as on titles such as The Sixth Sense and Lincoln, when she took over Lucasfilm and worked quickly to move into the new era of Star Wars movies. She courted J.J. Abrams to direct Star Wars The Force Awakens, the $2 billion grossing figure that launched a new trilogy in 2015. It was the first Star Wars feature since It was the first Star Wars feature since 2005's Revenge of the Sith, and met the moment of pent-up demand with a mix of nostalgia and new characters. It stands as the top-grossing movie of all time at the domestic box office at 936.6 million. More movies followed annually, including the 1 billion grossing Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, The Last Jedi at 1.33 billion, Solo, a Star Wars Story at 392.9 million. Oh, that's bad. And The Rise of Skywalker at 1 billion. Sorry for the editing there. It was not always smooth sailing. Kennedy fired filmmakers Phil Lord and Chris Millers as directors of Solo, replacing them with Ron Howard. Mid-production, the film became the first Star Wars movie to lose money in its theatrical run. During the production of Rogue One, she sidelined director Gareth Edwards, with Tony Gilroy brought in to overhaul the movie. And while that move engendered plenty of sky is falling narratives, the move proved to be savvy, as the movie became a major critical and financial hit, and later led to Gilroy's critically adored and Emmy-winning Disney Plus prequel series Andor. Following The Rise of Skywalker, which received a mixed response, Disney put Star Wars movies on pause, with CEO Bob Iger acknowledging it produced too many movies too quickly. Over the past decade, LucasFilm went through stops and starts as it promised movies that failed to materialize, including projects from the Game of Thrones creators David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, last filmmaker Rian Johnson and Taika Waititi. A movie starring Daisy Ridley has been stuck in development as announced in 2023. Pardon me, I had to get my dogs out of the window. I don't know what they're barking at. There's now 2 films on the way: The Mandalorian and Grogu, arriving May 22nd, and Sean Levy's Star Wars Starfighter, dated May 28th, 2027. While the movie side of Star Wars faltered after The Rise of Skywalker, Kennedy's decision to bring Favreau in to create and launch the first live-action Star Wars TV series proved to be a win beyond anyone's expectation. The Mandalorian shot Baby Yoda into popular culture. In the initial seasons, not only restored Star Wars' golden stature, but became the flagship show for Disney Plus when it launched in late 2019. The series that followed, however, had mixed results, with one, the 2024 series The Acolyte, being outright rejected by a certain faction of the sometimes intemperate fan base, and/or on the opposite end of the spectrum, showed Star Wars could be used to tell stories with political themes. It became a showcase for its actors and ended its run with 5 Emmys and 22 nominations. Overall, Star Wars series under Kathleen Kennedy have landed 85 Emmy nominations. Coming up will be a second season of Ahsoka and the animated Maul Shadow Lord series. Lucasfilm in recent years also undertook reviving Ron Howard's Willow series on Disney Plus, as well as the 5th and final Indiana Jones movie, but neither found the hoped-for audience. New leadership arrives with its own set of questions. Filoni is known for his intimate and arcane franchise knowledge, which served him well in animation, but less so in live action. Season 3 of The Mandalorian and Season 1 of Ahsoka dealt with intricate facets of interclan rivalry and Jedi witches that was perhaps too in the weeds for casual viewers. He was also due to make his live-action feature directorial debut with a movie that combined characters from these series, but that movie was put on the back burner, and Favreau's Mandalorian Grogu is now opening this spring. Observers point out that under Lucasfilm and Brennan, the franchise could see a continuing of many of the practices and priorities set forth under Kennedy. After all, both have been at Lucasfilm for years and are part of the institution. Others point out that the company stepped back from announcing projects, both feature and TV, last year as Kennedy negotiated her exit and search for successors took place. For all intents and purposes, the company was spinning at wheels. Now these sources say the company can move ahead with full force as it seeks to recapture the excitement and creativity of a more civilized age. So, she's gone, finally, after years and years and years. I don't know if it's going to be too much better under Filoni and Brennan. Filoni is in love with Ahsoka as a character, and I have the bad feeling she's going to be brought to the foreground much more than we're going to want to see. I would prefer myself to have been Jon Favreau. I mean, the work he did on The Mandalorian was just absolutely wonderful. Yeah. Although I think he pretty much stated how he felt about the whole thing in Mandalorian Season 3 when he killed off his own character. But, we'll see. I have currently everything I've seen from The Mandalorian and Grogu, I like. It looks like to be a nice adventure movie. I hope, you know, it might just be a, a good popcorn movie, and sometimes that's all we need. But I think it's going to be like after that, like Starfighter. We all, all we know is the cast and a little bit of the story. And there's rumors that Ray is going to be in it. There's rumors Ray's not going to be in it, so we won't know until closer to 2027. But I would like to see, maybe some kind of heir to the Empire, with Luke and Han. I know we're going to have to recast uh, the original uh, three, but that would be fine with me. If we got, uh, you know, more characters in that timeline. I even maybe some stuff during the Clone Wars. I know that we keep hitting that, but or move forward, or move forward between from the Mandalorian into the First Order. I don't mind the First Order. I mind what happened after uh, the Force Awakens. I liked the Force Awakens for what it was. A new, uh, it was like a reboot to the, the franchise. Because it had been 30, 40 years at that point, maybe 50, that the franchise, or not 50, 30 or 40 years. And, a lot of us are aging out. That, the original generation that Star Wars hit with. And so the thought of, aiming it to people, not only the grognards like me in my generation, but trying to get new fans in with new characters, I think it really, the way they went about it with the following movies was wrong. I think they went right up to the window, or went right up to the door actually, with Finn being a Jedi Knight, and then shut the door in his face. I really did not care for that. I thought it was going to be cool. A next uh, stormtrooper becoming a hero of the rebellion, becoming a Jedi Knight. I thought that was going to be great. And then we had the Poe Dameron as the Han Solo archetype, and Rey as Princess Leia warrior archetype. And then we had Chewbacca, we had the droids, and we had new droids, and we had Darth Vader's grandson, which I thought was cool at the time. But the follow-up movies, yeah, Force Awakens was it was too much. A lot of people say it was too much like Star Wars, and I would probably agree with that. But I also think that it was it could have been, if the other two movies had been better, that would have been forgiven. But unfortunately, the movies weren't good, and they got increasingly worse. Although my hot take is that Rise of Skywalker is much better than The Last Jedi, even with Palpatine. I could have rewritten that one so much better. I think most people could have. I really want. Matt Smith was supposed to be the villain in that movie. Maybe he was a young Palpatine, as like seen in Dark Empire. That would have been cool if Matt Smith would have been you know, the surviving clone of Palpatine. You know, that would have been cool. But Kathleen's out. It's a new day at Lucasfilm. What do you think? Is it worthwhile? Should we be happy? I'm on the fence of uh, we'll wait and see. Let's see what happens. Like we have Shadow Lord coming out. We have Mandalorian Grogu coming out. Let's see what they give us before we celebrate. I mean, it could be great. On the other hand, it could suck. but that's for time to tell. I am Bill West. I'm the man in the middle. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will talk to you again soon. You guys take care. Bye-bye.